morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, hump day, right? June 4th. And today we will cover the trades for YieldMax funds, TSLY, Coney, Nvidia, Misty, SMCY, and PLTY. All right, let's get to this. Pre-market data as of, where the hell's the time? 5:15 a.m. So I'm running later than I want to, of course. Tesla is up 0.56%. TSLY is up 0.76%. Nvidia is up 0.65%. Nvidia is up Nvidia is up 0.63%. Coin is up 0.88%. Coney is up 0.87%. MSTR is down 0.47%. MSTY is up 0.09%. By the way, happy Declaration Day. We should know what they're declaring as of 6:55 a.m. this morning, so stay tuned for that if you're watching on the premiere. Obviously, if you're watching after, you already know what they paid. TSLL is up 1.22%. TNA Dynamite is up 1.1%, 3111. Bitcoin is down 0.8%, 105,450. BitX is down 1.7%, 1.75%, 5345. Satsu is up 2.02%, 1867. Super micro nerdy ass computer company is up 0.69%, 4349. SMCY is up 0.63%. Palantir is up 0.26%. PLTY is up 0.29%. UPRO is up 0.56%, and TQQQ is up 0.35%. So it looks like the market, or at least most of the funds that we cover overall, are up just a little bit. Just a little bit. All right. So who had trades yesterday? Well, a lot of people, right? Nvidia had trades, no Tesla, so that's good, right? Misty had a freaking lot of trades. Good Lord, Misty. Who else? I mean, who cares, right? Well, SMCY and PLTY had trades. So if I sound funny, I have a piece of toilet paper stuck in my nose because I got a bloody nose right before the video. But the show must go on, right? So let's get to it. Good thing you don't see my my mug. All right. So what did Misty have? Well, actually, let's just go to the trades real quick, and then we'll get to the file. So buy, call, sell, put. All right. So they're adding to the synthetic, but look at the date, 7/11, and you'll get what I'm saying in a second. But basically, they made another 370 synthetic to make my life a little more complicated. I know. Why have 370 synthetics? I don't know. I'm sure there's a reason. I guess I'll have to find out and get back to you guys tomorrow. So, Mr. SNY, can you please explain so we can let the community know? All right. What else? Buy to close, put. Yeah, so they're obviously they moved money from the 420 synthetic. Wait, where the hell? To the 370 synthetic that expires 7/11. So new money went to the 370, and some money from the 420 went to the 370. And then they did a buy to close on a bunch of stocks, a bunch of strike prices, and it was they got blown through. We'll just say that, and they moved the strike prices up for those, and that's pretty much it. So let's get down to the spreadsheet. I'm a little out of it today because I feel like I screwed something up. I don't know. So we'll just do what we can here. Hopefully everything comes out good. All right. So again, what the heck was yesterday's date? June 4th, right? So I'm sorry, June 3rd. See? So June 2nd, nothing. That's old. So this is the synthetic 390. They didn't touch it. It expires June 20th, very soon, 17 days away. The 420. If we go here, let's see, where is it? There you go. They removed or rolled out 7,350 contracts from the 420 to the 370, which we'll look at in a second. So that leaves the 420 with 7,350 contracts now. So, yeah, there's that. And that expires in 17 days. But that's just, 17. Okay. Okay, so now we have the 370. This is the one that expires July 18th. I don't believe they touched this one yesterday. No, they didn't. So this one has 31,500 contracts. But again, it's a 370 that expires on July 18th. And then there's a 370 now that expires on, I have it down here, July 11th. So again, two 370 synthetics. Contract-wise, again, they added the new money, 1,000 contracts. I think that's the right number, right? Why do I feel like it's wrong? Nope, it's right. Okay, so see 1,000 contracts, new money, and then they added the 7,350. All right, now that we got that squared away, here's the new position. Obviously, we have 8,350 contracts on the 370 that expires in 38 days. Okay, so I added up the contracts here to confirm 415 contracts. All right, moving on. Like I said, this video is all screwed up. We could always make it up tomorrow, guys, all right? There's always tomorrow, all right? All right, anyway, how did MSTR do yesterday? They went up 4.07%. Wow, that's a big jump. Misty did not go up that much. Misty went up 2.75%. So, slight cappity doodah yesterday because our strikes were not prepared for a massive up day. And I'm not sure if it's gonna slow down. I guess we'll tell. Time will tell. We have 3 trading days left. Let's just check out the IV real quick before we look at the trades. IV today, if you look at the top, sell H1 is at 55%. So it's dropping even more. Again, that's why we can't go out that far in the strike price, which sucks. But MSTR is still jumping, unexpectedly. So we're in a tough spot here. We need some volatility. But, you can see it dropped again, 3%. The IV dropped 3%. So suckity-doo-dah on that. But, okay, so whatever. What did they close yesterday? Let's take a look. They closed 1,800 contracts on a 380 strike. They paid $12.52 per share on that, so they kind of got their ass kicked on that. They lost $1.3 million there. It's been a while since we lost the trade, but there you go. And here's another 2,500 contracts. 380 got blown through. They had to pay the difference, $13.15. Again, they're piecemealing it. They have a lot of trades, but they decided to close this one. They lost $2.2 million on that trade. And then keep in mind the closeout, the debit part of this trade, this $3.2 million, that's what gets carried into this 4-week cycle calculation when we calculate the weeklies. This $1 million, this is already calculated into the prior cycle, so we don't get credit for that in this new cycle. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, we kind of called this yesterday. Remember, they opened the 2,500, they bought a call, and we said, all right, it's going to be like a quick trade, kind of like a day trade, right? They bought a call for $395. If MSTR had a quick update, which it did, they would sell it, and they did. So they bought it for $204. They sold it for $538. So this was a quick profit of $835,000. Imagine had they put more money into that, how much more money they would have made, right? Damned if you do, damned if you don't. But in the end, that trade worked out. Not enough to offset the damage on the other ones, but so what happened with the new trades? Well, let's see. Are these all new trades? Guess so, right? We got all new contracts. They chose 400, 402.50. Well, that's basically it, which is, same expiration date for this week, but out of the money wise, it's only a 3%, right? Almost 4 and some, but it's still tight. So if MSTR goes up 4% again, yikes. Yikety-doo-dah. All right, so let's keep going over here. Outstanding shares, they did have an increase again, but this time of 2.3 million, much smaller than the day prior. But yeah, still an increase. And let's just go to the recap of this page. Misty's price is at $22.44. MSTR price, $387.43. 30-day IV, 55.47%. Again, that sucks. Outstanding shares, 204,450,000. Total net income, unfortunately, is not income. It's a loss of 2.7 mil. So we will cut it off right there. And we cannot annualize that sucker. All right, so before I even get into this, thirsty as hell. Hold on a second. All right, ready? Are you ready? All right, MSTR, again, it went up 4.07%. We know Misty went up 2.75%. Winter went down 3.78%. IMST, it went up 3.14%, which is more than Misty. Again, their calls are further out dated-wise and mostly further, up in strike price. So that's why they gained more than Misty. And then MST gained more than everyone. They went up 6.24% because, again, they got some double leverage up in that. So that's why they're winning. But yeah, MST also declared their distribution, but their ex-dividend date is today, right? Today's the 4th, yeah. So obviously I added that for today's date, trying to get ahead of it so I don't forget. IMST, they must be coming up to... they're not coming up because Misty's up obviously this week, and then IMST I guess will be up shortly after that. All right, so that's the update on the funds. I'm not sure if any of the other funds launched, but I'm sure you guys will let me know. Reaction, obviously, we don't know what we're getting, at least as of right now. I'm sure by the time most of you watch this video, you know. But, it's like opening a treasure chest. Woohoo, when are we getting paid? It's going to be a letdown from last month, either way you look at it. So, but most people should be happy. You can't expect the high payments every month. That's the issue. But anyway, 0 days until declaration, obviously. And then we restart all over again. So, as far as the prior payment cycle, which again, we're still in, the outstanding shares keeps increasing. So the income per share will drop. So we're showing a total that they made $1.22 per share. All right. Now we still have today. Today's declaration date. Tomorrow's ex-dividend date. So we will take the outstanding shares as of the end of day today. And that'll update one more time, and that'll show you the final income per share. Again, it's at 122. I think my guess was 123. I don't even remember at this point. But whatever, it doesn't matter. We'll see what they declare. Synthetic. This is the new cycle. Synthetic loss, we should say, 107 mil. Weekly loss, 2.7 mil. Total net loss, 109 mil. Again, rough start, rough outing so far. We'll see if things turn around, but it is what it is. Rodimator's useless. IV is low as hell, 55%. So next payment, we're looking at around 96 cents so far. But yikes. Yeah, let's get through this payment cycle first, right? All right, MSTR holdings. First, we'll go through the calls, and then we'll go from there. Little complication as far as the holdings are, at least the view of the holdings. Let me lower this. Sweat my ass off, man. All right. So there is no credit call spreads. It's just selling good old calls like in the old days. They got a 380. That's the lowest of the lowest of the lowest strike price, 1.92% in the money. 382.50, 1.27% in the money. 385.63% in the money. So Mr. Sny himself, he's wearing a cap today. That is for sure. Well, he was probably wearing it yesterday, probably singing the Cappity Doo-Dah all day. But we'll see how things turn out today. But yeah, we are Cappity Doo-Dah, Cappity Day, cap. Yuck, 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 yuck. All right, what else we got? We got a 387.50 all the way up to 402.50. Our highest strike is 402.50, and that's 3.89% out of the money. So like I said, if they go up 4% again today, all we're going to say is, ouch, man, ouch. Our synthetics obviously will pick it up and do well, but we'll have to pay the difference. Well, assuming we close these out early or end up, still upwards by the Friday. Because, again, these expire Friday. They don't expire today. But we'll see how it all plays out. All right, so this mishmash disaster of crap, I don't even know where to begin. But obviously, some of the synthetics, or the call piece of the synthetic is up here. Some of them are down here. And then, I don't know why it's sorted like this, but to be honest, I don't have enough time to care. I do know it's all there. So, and I did start something a little different. And I separated now out the value of the various synthetics by expiration date. You know, I'm also going to, well, again, I don't know if I need I need the expiration date now because there's freaking 3 different expiration dates. But I want to also capture the number of contracts, but that doesn't really matter as much, I guess. But it does for verification purposes. But either way, we'll get into the synthetics in a second. But when you look at the holdings today, you're going to be a little bit like, what the hell? But just know everything is actually accurate. So the value of the Misty fund is 4.5 bill. The NAV is 22.43. The trade price is 22.44. Keep in mind, tomorrow is ex-dividend date. So obviously the fund is going to drop, right? The cash is coming out of the account. See this cash here? $1.7 billion in cash. That's going to drop for whatever the payment is, right? Whatever payment total that they have to pay out, that's going to drop, which means this number here, this $4.5 billion number will drop, at that time, plus or minus movement, of course, in the underlying. All right, so synthetic-wise, again, we got 4. We got a 390, a 420, and 2 370s. The ones that expire soonest are the 620, okay? Now, if you look at those, they're, the 390, it's, because what's MSTR at, the current price? MSTR is at 387. So the 390, it's not a concern really. The 420, of course it is. We were singing Gold Digger yesterday. But it's, after the big jump, it seems like it's possible. Because again, it expires on June 20th. It doesn't expire this week. So there's time. And then there's the other ones, the 370s. These are doing great, right? These are making money. They actually are worth 9 cents and 31 cents per share. So again, this is how I'm going to separate it, I think, going forward. Because if you think about it, if they're going to separate out the synthetics, then we have to consider them separately, especially the ones that expire sooner than the others. I know it's a pain in the ass on my side, but it helps us understand like what, instead of bulking all synthetics as one, we have to look at them individually to understand how each of them are doing and why they would, when they expire, things like that. I just think it's good information to know. You guys can let me know too. All right, so anyway, let's get moving here. Synthetic contract total, we talked about this, 113,415. Total contracts they're selling calls on, 106,415. So 93% of the fund, or 93% of the synthetic contracts they're selling calls on. No credit call spreads, no butt buddies, no insurance. So that's 0. And that's it. So we can move on from here. IMST, we saw that they did better than Misty yesterday as far as the price movement. Let's look how they're doing. Again, they got synthetics. They didn't do anything. They didn't do any trades that I saw, at least. But I don't see their intraday trades. But if you looked at what expires this week, nothing for this week, at least, is in the money, right? If you look at the 6 dates, they have a 395 and a 405. That's 1% and 4% out of the money. As far as next week, they do have a 385. That's in the money. And for next week, also, they have a 390, slightly out of the money. So next week is another story for another day. And then on the June 20th, they got, a 410. And what they got? Oh, that's it, right? Yeah, 405, sorry. 4.54%. Sorry, I'll sweat my ass off right now. And I need more water because I'm dying today. Take this tissue out of my nose. All right, hopefully the nose is done bleeding. All right, so that's the update on IMST. Let's go to MST. I think they did they add any new trades? I don't know. Again, this fund is a little different. Again, because they have a swap. They do buy calls and then they sell calls on some of the fund. So we'll just focus on those calls. These 2 calls, they expire this week. The 382.50 is 1.27% in the money, and the 400 is 3.24% out of the money. So, they did good yesterday as far as the upside is concerned, thanks to their, double leverage. But, The flip side is if MSTR were to go down, obviously they'd be hurting more than the others as well. So again, this is quite the interesting fund, much different than the other, not much different, but a little different than the others as far as the price movement. It'll again on the up, on the flat days. Well, actually, I don't know. When we have like a very, very flat day, we'll see how all of these compete against one another. But it'll be close. Anyway, questions. There's no new questions. I did cover whatever questions yesterday. So again, if you have a video question, you have to type in video question. If you had a question yesterday and I missed it, I'm sorry. Super busy day. But feel free to repeat it today if I missed it. But yeah, you type in video question and then the question, and I'll add it to whatever spreadsheet it is applicable to. All right, so that's the Misty update. Again, I'm sorry if this video is all screwed up already, but doing my best here. Nvidia had to trade, so we know that. Nvidia, I think SMCY and PLTY had trade. All right, so let's get to it. Let's go to the other spreadsheet and cover TSLY real quick. All right, so TSLY, here we go. Tesla went up 0.46% yesterday. I got to turn this damn heater off. Damn. All right, Tesla went up 0.46% yesterday. TSLY went up 0.43%, so 94% capture, so that's pretty good. Tesla current price is $344.27, at least as of the close yesterday, which is above both of the synthetics. They have a 320 and a 340 synthetic, both expiring July 18th, so that's pretty good. And then we got the calls. So where do they stand for this week? Let's see. Lowest of the strike prices is 365. That is 6.02% out of the money. Highest strike is 390, 13.28% out of the money. Again, they have 6 total strike prices, which means they are scattered 6, 8, 8, 10, 11, and 13% out of the money with 3 trading days. That's a pretty damn good position. They also do have credit call spreads, buy calls, butt buddies, insurance plays, whatever you want to call it. They're ready. They're ready for it all. So again, TSLY is in good shape as of this moment. The value of the TSLY fund is 1.1 bill. The NAV is 926. Trade price is the same. Synthetic is worth 28 cents per share on paper. 30-day IV, 61%. IV estimate based on that, 44 cents. Income estimate is $1.44, which is a 202% yield. And guess what? They declare next week. They're up again. 7 days away on June 11th. So we will stay tuned for that. All right, Nvidia is up, but again, they had trades. So we'll go back to the trade file real quick. All right, what did they do? Buy to close, call. All right, so they're closing out a 139, and it looks like, it was, the 139 got blown through, 1.57% in the money. They paid $3.86 per share, which doesn't seem to be that bad overall if you think about it. All right, and then they rolled it to a 146 strike. That's 3.38% out of the money. And here's another one, buy to close, 139 again. Again, they paid around 391. They rolled it to a 145, which is 2.68% out of the money. All right, so again, some cappity doodah there as well, but hey, it is what it is. Market's freaking nuts lately. You just don't know. And all right, so let's look at the price fluctuation here. Nvidia, they only went up 2.72%, and Nvidia only captured 1.63%. I mean, that's pretty bad. That's a 59% capture, which is not something we want to see. Let's look at the synthetics, though. Nvidia price is 141.22. The synthetics are 120 and 130. So the synthetics are making what? Bank, brah. Bank. All right, they expire July 18th, though, so they can cash them out or roll them whenever they please. And then that'll add to the synthetic bank, brah. All right, so let's look at our calls for the rest of the week. Again, everything expires on Friday. The lowest strike price is 139. That is 1.57% in the money. So, yeah, that sucks. Then there's a 140. That's 0.86% in the money. Yeah, that sucks. And the 141 is 0.16% in the money. All the other 4 strike prices are out of the money, but not by much. They're 0.55% to 3.38% out of the money. So there's nothing safe about these plays, but So Nvidia Fund Manager, they are also wearing their Cappity Doodah, and they are singing the Cappity Doodah song probably all day. But, maybe Nvidia slow down, they'll get a little red. We really need some volatility, some IV spike up in her. All right, the value of the Nvidia fund is 1.5 bill. The NAV is 15.98, trade price 15.97. Synthetic on paper is worth $1.92 per share. 30-day IV, 35%. I mean, look at that. That's a joke. 35% IV on Nvidia. What the hell's going on? Like, what is happening? This is not, a great a great time to trade options. And with these IVs, I'm not used to seeing Nvidia that low. IV estimate based on that, 44 cents. Income estimate, $1.45, which is 118% yield. They declare when? 14 days away on June 18th. All right, let's move on. Coney. Let's just double check, because again, we could screw something up, of course. We're good at screwing shit up over here. All right, they did not have a trade. SMCY's the next one. All right, so that's good. At least we could read, there's progress being made today. All right, how we doing? You went up 4.71%. Coney went up 3.97%. Is that all right? Well, yeah, at least they got their 80%. They got 84% capture on that. All right, Coney heads. What did you do to your cone? All right, so their synthetic is 250. It expires on June 20th. Coin is at 258. So, yeah, that's not necessarily bank, brah, but it's good, brah. All right, so how we doing on the calls? Yeah, it's another cappity doodah kind of day, right? But it's going to be hard to find a cap to fit on the giant cone head. It's going to be a big problem. But we'll have to figure it out. So the lowest strike price is 255. That's 1.51% in the money. 257.50 is 0.54% in the money. Everything else is out of the money, though, so that's good. The other strikes, the other four are 1, 3, 6, and 7% out of the money. But again, it's only Wednesday, and we know anything can happen. So, again, we could still win our trades too. So, time will tell. Coney Fund is still over a bill. It's about 1.1 bill. The NAV is 807, trade price 806. Synthetic on the paper is worth 30 cents per share. 30-day IV, 53%. IV estimate based on that, 33 cents. Income estimates at 9 cents. And Group C declares in 21 days on June 25th. All right, so that's the update on Coney. SMCY had a trade, so we'll have to go back yet again. Okay, here we go. 800 contracts. They got, all right, so the buy call on the 620 and the sell. One of the buy calls is down here. All right, so it's on the 620. Buy call, and the sell puts up there. All right, so they added to the 45 synthetic. And then they closed 2,200 shares here. Looks like a little cappity doodah there. And they rolled it up to a 45.50 strike, 5% out of the money. So, and they bought some calls too. So, whatever. Let's get to the file. How did SMCY do yesterday? Well, yeah, man, they went up too. And everything is freaking cappity doodah because our, IV sucks. And our strike prices are not far out of the money enough to capture what the hell's going on. SMCI went up 4.61%. Again, SMCY not properly ready for this. They only went up 3.01%. That's a 65% capture. So suckety doodah. All right, synthetic wise, they have a 45 strike. How's that doing? It's all right. I mean, SMCI is at 43.19, but it expires June 20th. So let's at least let that be. Let it be. Let it be. All right, SimC, what do we got? What do we got in the calls? We got 4 strike prices. 42 is the lowest. That is 2.76% in the money. Then we got a 42.50. That is 1.6% in the money. The other two, though, are looking a little better. They are 4 and 5% out of the money. So, it's not... It doesn't look as bad as what you saw on the price fluctuation. I think the biggest issue is the number of contracts. They are top heavy at the low strike end. They have 30,000 contracts that are in the money, as you can see here, 10,000 plus the 20, and only 12,000 contracts that are out of the money. So that's kind of why we look so cappity doodah, you know? All right, the value of the SMCY fund is 187 mil with an M. The NAV is 2055 trade price, 2058 synthetic on the paper, negative. Wah, wah, wah. 30-day IV. Oh my God, even their IV is dropping 70%. Ew, 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 ew. IV estimate based on that 111. Income estimate 0, 0, 0, all zeros. But it's actually, I don't know what it is. I didn't update the other sheet yet because, again, the group's value gets updated at the end of the week, starting on the new cycle. The reason for that is it has to pick up all of the new funds first before I even bother, or else I'll be playing formula, chasing formulas all week, which I'm not doing. Sorry about that. Group D declares when? Today. So we probably know what SMCY paid. So yay. It's either yay or nay, right? Is it woohoo or is it ew? All right, we'll find out. All right. Up next, your boy PLTY Posse in the house. Woo! All right, so let's see what PLTY Posse got going for us. By the close, what did they close in? A 129. Here we go. Yeah, that got blown through. That's 3% in the money. So they closed that and they rolled that baby into a 139. Okay, the 139 is 4% out of the money. And they bought a call, created call spread. Again, these created call spreads that they got are helping him out. That's for sure. We saw Misty don't have any. So if they get cappity doodah, they kind of screwed. They kind of screwed, man. All right, how we doing, Palantir? What's going on? What's going on, Palantir? They only went up 0.85%. So PLTY said, you know what? I'll capture 0.79%. That's a 92% capture. So that's good. At least Palantir didn't jump up 4% as well, right? In one day. The synthetic is 115. Palantir, 133. So, yeah, bank bra. Bank bra. For real, bank bra. Again, guys, we don't want any underlying on these funds to jump that high in one day, right? Palantir did not, so that's good. So, as a PLTY holder, you're like, all right, good. We really want the slow movements upwards, right? We want super, 1% a day, fine. 0.5% a day, fine. 4% in one day, good Lord. So that's why you're seeing a lot of caps being passed around the YieldMax office this morning. All right, Palantir, PLTY, whatever the heck your name is, how you doing? Well, the lowest strike is 130, and it's not doing well. It's 2.38% in the money, in the money. The others are out of the money, right? The 1.37% out of the money to 2 to 2 to 4% out of the money. And they did buy a call right in between. That's that's a 138. Again, they're selling the calls at as high as 139, and they bought a call as low as 138. So that's pretty good. I always love when you get like a buy call sandwich right there. All right, the value of the PLTY fund is $500 million, 523 mil. The NAV is 66.03. The trade price 66.16. Synthetic bailout on paper. We said it's bank bra. About to turn this heater on and get freezing again. I got issues. But this garage is like a fluctuation of temperatures here. But what the hell were we saying? On paper, again, this synthetic is worth $9.55 per share. I'm not doing the synthetic breakdown on these others, by the way. Misty is special. They get their own they get special treatment. I can't do the same thing for every single one because it'd just be a nightmare. Anyway, 30-day IV, 56% IV. Estimate based on that, 289. Is that good? I mean, I guess. Income estimates in the negative. Group B declares in 2 weeks, though, on June 18th. So stay tuned for that. All right, guys. So that's the update on the YieldMax holdings. If you're done data, if you're leaving me, thank you for watching. If you're staying for options, my options, then thank you even more. So let's get to it because we don't want to dilly-dally today, right? Do I have any questions here? Yeah, and I already answered that. I guess I could put yes, right? I don't even know why I have this column, but whatever. So yeah, if you guys have questions on options, feel free to write video question and I'll answer it. Simple as that. If it's a good question, at least, right? If it makes sense. All right, so what did I trade yesterday? Well, let's see. Misty, I looked and I did not make a move, but I did add the next X date to be June 3rd. And guess what, guys? Guess what? The next X date of Misty falls on a Friday. Well, actually, I don't know. I don't know if it's a Friday or it's the the holiday, but it falls on the expiration date of that week, right? Because obviously we have July 4th, which is a holiday. But so my next contract, if I sell calls on Misty, it's going to expire on July 3rd. So why would I sell a call on a Misty contract expiring July 3rd? Because if I get called away on X dividend date, then guess what? That means I'm still holding it as of X dividend date, right? So if I'm holding it as of X dividend date, at least I'll get the dividend before they take my shares away. So that's why I'm willing to sell calls on Misty with an expiration date of the X dividend date. I hope that makes sense. So if Misty goes up today, I'm going to sell a call probably at 23 because I'm going to do, again, one-to-ones here. Again, I can't do it on cost basis right now. My cost basis overall is 26.40. So if I look at a 27 call, it ain't going to be worth crap. So the only way I'll sell calls on these if I consider them one-to-one, right? Because you see here, this 33 kind of screwed me. So if somehow we get back up there, we'll be all right. But in the meantime, I'll play around with what I got, playing the one-to-one game, if that makes sense. All right, moving on, and water break. Give me a second. Birdies are out. Ugh. Did a commute video yesterday. If you guys missed it, feel free to check it out. I know some people do like them. They are really easy to make because obviously I just hit record and complain about stuff, and people like it. So why not, man? Why not? All right, so TSLL yesterday. Again, TSLL, I currently own 700 shares, all right? I got one put open, and then I got a whole bunch of calls. But I added 2 more calls yesterday. Let's take a look. So in the morning, TSLL was around $14.80. I sold a call with a $17 strike price. At the time, 14% out of the money. And the delta was 0.15. Again, under 0.2, which is good. Premium paid me 0.15. 15 cents per share times 100, $15. And that yielded me approximately 85%. So nothing crazy there, nothing special. And then TSLL rose up in the afternoon to 15.65. So I sold a call again. But this time I went into next week because, again, the premium, I like to scatter my strikes. Plus, I like to, starting on the Tuesday, typically I do look into the following week because from Tuesday to Friday, it's questionable unless I go really close to the money. And I didn't feel like going close to the money, so I sold a 19. It's 21% out of the money. And that's a point. It was just on the 0.2 delta, which is right now I'm considering my margin of safety at this point. Unless I'm doing a degen play, then I don't really give a crap about the delta. All right, but the premium per share I got was 35 cents times, again, 100 shares. $35, that's an annualized yield of 81%. So not bad. Again, I sold 2 calls. So how many did I have before? Let's see. That's 3, that's 4, that's 5, 6. I have 6 contracts pending. How many shares do I have? 700. I only have 100 shares left that does not have a covered call on it. So if TSLL stays green today, though it was 100 shares, yep, you damn Skippy, they're going to have a covered call on them. And that's it. That's all she wrote. So I won't be able to do anything else except sell puts, which I may or may not consider. It all depends. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, so that's TSLL. Oh, yeah, by the way, so far for the week, how much did I make on TSLL? I have made $66 in premium. All right, moving on. Guess who we're moving on to? TNA Dynamite. All right, yesterday, TNA, slightly green. They were in the morning, $29.76. I sold a call with a $34 strike price. At the time, 14% out of the money, delta 0.1. Premium per share, paid about 15 cents per share. So multiply that times 100, I got $15. Annualized yield only 18%. Again, but I'm playing a little safer on TNA on the call side because you just never know. And then on the afternoon, TNA went up to $30.86. So at that point, I sold another call, $35 strike, 13% out of the money. That was a 0.13 delta for me. And I got premium per share of 22 cents. So multiply that times 100, that's $22. And that annualized at 26%. So again, my annualized yield is a little lower because look how far out of the money I'm going. I'm going 14 and 13% out of the money on a super, it's the IV again, even on TNA is just low. So, but again, I want to be able to capture, I don't want to get these blown through, all right? Because you just have that feeling that the market is just wishy-washy, and it could just blow up, fly to the moon, and here we are. But at the same time, again, I got to be, I can't worry about that. And I got to be, got to make money too. So there's two sides of this. But anyway, so we have 4 contracts we're selling calls on. 2 expire this Friday, a 32 and a 33. And so obviously you see I'm scattered, you do da. And then I got the 34 and the 35 for next week. I still have a put. Obviously that expires for this Friday as well, but that seems to be safe. So 400 shares are locked up of the 600, so I can play with 200 shares today. So if TNA is up today, I'll probably sell a call. If it continues to go up, I'll sell another call. Then that'll be the end of it. And that, again, just like TSLL, I'll be just waiting. Nothing you can do, right? Just sell, maybe I sell put. I don't know. But anyway, for TNA so far for this week, I made $49. Again, nothing crazy. So let's go to the overall weekly income so far. I've made $115. Again, this is a fresh new month, so we have to consider that. This options account, this is called the Retire Now account. This is the account I'm supposed to live off of, by the way. But right now, it also pays the mortgage, right? Because I'm living for the now. I'm not living for, when I retire, although I am trying to retire early. And when I say retire, I talked about this on the commute video. I'm talking about retiring from my full-time job, right? The 9 to 5, the grind, the commute, that. I'm not going to stop working because obviously I will do other work such as this or any other side hustles needed to, make ends meet. So that's really the goal, to not be, stuck down and have to be at a certain place at a certain time. You just want the flexibility. You want more flexibility in your life to spend more time for yourself, for your friends, for your family, things like that. And that's what I'm striving for. But obviously, this account, it really has, it has 2 jobs. It has 1, pay the mortgage, $1,300 a month. 2, reinvest at least, 50% of the income. So I have to make at least double whatever the mortgage is at the moment. And you could see, I also have income goals. So like for June, the income goal is a little less than 2,600. It's 2,138. But again, hopefully I do make 2,600 so I can reinvest at least 50%. Last month I was able to reinvest 58%, which is pretty good. So I'll start to track that here. We could talk about it here. And then, obviously we track the monthly data going forward. I fixed the increase percentage. April to May was an increase of 52% in income. We'll see what June comes. May was a really good month though. I'm not saying we're going to have like a fantastic, we're not just going to keep going up in income. So we may make, say, 2,500. You never know for the month of June, but because we got to play it safe too. But so far, obviously, our weekly income, a little weak. We'll see what happens today. Again, if the market turns super, super green, can I sell calls a little tighter on TSLL? I probably can, because you can see my cost basis is at like overall 1683. I don't know. We'll see, guys. We'll see. Also, I have a Misty play. I mean, again, I may sell calls on Misty. I don't know. We'll see how things go. But that's the update on my options plays. That was the update on YieldMax. I don't think, we don't have any questions. So we will kind of get to the end here. So as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. This video is for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're entertained. If not, come back tomorrow. And we will do our damnedest to entertain the hell out of you, right? That's the point of YouTube, right? Most YouTubers are here for entertainment. Some are entertaining. Some are boring as crap. But there is a YouTuber for everyone. That's what I say. So, as always, if you're thinking about starting a YouTube channel, what the hell are you waiting for, man? Just do it. Just do it, man. Get out of that comfort zone and do it, I think it's fun. It's just because everyone can relate. There's always someone that can relate to you. And my weird ass, there's a lot of people that relate to me because they don't, they're not the normal investor. They're not the robot investor, we'll say, or, the nerded out investor that, freaks out over balance sheets and income statements. No, we care about volatility. We care about income. We don't give a damn about any particular company. Obviously, the overall market, the index, you want that to do well over time. But you get what I'm saying. You don't fall in love with anything. You just make money. It's all about the freaking money. All right? We make money to make our lives better, easier, right? Does that make sense? All right. Anyway, what the hell were we talking about? Yeah, we're to the end. So I think we said not financial advice, right? We did all that jazz. So you know that jazz. If you enjoy this content, please hit the like button. If you have any questions or concerns, leave them down below. If you have a video question, type in video question. What else? That's it. That's the end of the video. So keyword time. If you made it this far in the video, guys, and you would like to prove it to me and others, you have to type down on the bottom the keyword in the comments. What is the keyword? I don't know. You tell me. You tell me. So, Misty, by now, Misty declared their distribution. I would like to know, via emoji, your feeling on the Misty payment. All right? Because, again, I don't know. It's still too early for me. I don't know what the hell they paid. So you tell me via emoji face, or emoji anything, I guess, how you feel about the Misty declaration. All right? Maybe it's bank bra, so you can make a picture of a bank and a bra, right? Or maybe it's shit, and you put a piece of poop. You could do anything, man. No limit. All right, anyway, guys, I'm out of here. I got to get moving, get my ass, to work. Well, I'm not driving to work, luckily, so it's a little better today. But anyway, guys, seriously, for real, thank you for watching, and have a great day. I will talk to you guys tomorrow, all right? We'll see you tomorrow, all right? Peace.